In today's episode, we are talking about all the different Cricut blades and tools that are compatible with your machine. There are a lot of them out there, and there's all different ones from the Joy to the Maker. So we're going to dive deep and look at each and every blade and tool that's offered by Cricut, figure out what they do, and help you figure out which ones you really need. Hey, welcome to the Creative Ramblings podcast. I'm your host, Sarah. I am so glad you're here. We are talking about Cricut blades and tools today. So I'm sitting here with my Maker 3, just one of the 7 machines that Cricut currently offers. And each one of these machines is compatible with a number of different tools that work to help you create projects. It can be a little confusing to figure out whether or not you need all the different tools and what projects you can make. So that is what we are talking about today. I'm hoping to give you a little bit of clarity on these and help you make a really informed buying decision. A few things I want to touch on before we get into today's topic. As always, if you want to skip these deals and exclusives, you can click on the next chapter. It'll take you right into today's topic. So we've got just a few deals to touch on today, and then 2 other things that are launching that I want to tell you about. It's January. There's not a ton of big deals out there. I've been saying this all month, but there are still some. So not Cricut related, but the Lockleek Smart Cutting Machine that I have been talking about for a couple months. I've got a handful of videos up on that one. Very similar to the Cricut Explore 3. There is a Valentine offer on Amazon right now where you get the cutting machine, you get a mini heat press, a whole bunch of HTV, and a set of cutting mats. And I have a discount code for this down in the description. You can get it for right around $240 for all of that. So a really good bundle, that's down in the description. The other thing that has been on my mind this week and last week that's really cool is Xtool's release or launch of their DTF apparel printer. It is still in the Kickstarter phase. We're going to learn more about it in February, but it is a really, really cool printer. It's got a shaker and an oven with it too. There's just some amazing stuff that come with this machine. I'm going to link the Kickstarter, actually their website, which then takes you over to Kickstarter, down in the description if you want to learn more. Really, really cool machine. So I'm looking forward to learning more about that next month. Every Thursday, I do have a newsletter that goes out with deals in it, along with some other crafty topics. So as we get more deals and product releases, those will always be in that Thursday newsletter. The other thing that's going to be in that newsletter tomorrow is a giveaway I'm doing. I'm giving away a heat press, and the link to that will be in tomorrow's newsletter. It'll also be up on my Instagram and Facebook pages. So I'll probably share a community post here on YouTube as well. Keep an eye out on my channels and my newsletter tomorrow so you can enter to win a heat press, because I'd love for you to win. And one other thing I want to tell you about is I just launched a membership right here on YouTube. So just below this video, as you're watching it, you'll see a little blue join button. If you click on that button, you can watch a video that's about a minute long. It's me talking about what the membership is. But essentially, it is a way to support this channel and help me continue creating more videos. And in return, you're going to get some exclusive perks only available to members. So hit that join button just to learn a little bit more and see what's out there. Let's dive into today's topic. This episode is all about Cricut blades and tools. So all the different blades and tools that are compatible with your machine. We're going to talk about what they are, what machines they go with, and what projects you can make, all in an effort to help you make an informed buying decision. Do you need all of the extra blades? Can you get by with 1 or 2? That's the goal here today. There are 7 Cricut machines right now in 2025. All of last year, there were 7 Cricut machines. This right here is the Maker 3. We're just going to use this as an example today. There are 7 total machines. They all have an interchangeable blade and tool capability. So every single one of those machines can operate with 1 or more tools. The first thing I want to show you is this handy little guide right here. This is It's normally in color. I printed it in black and white. This is the Ultimate Cricut Blade Guide. I made this a couple years ago. I update it often. I actually just updated it this month. And it is a couple pages. It's got some great charts in here of everything that we are going to talk about today. So this walks you through what each blade and tool does, what machine it's compatible with, and how you might use it. This is free to my newsletter subscribers. There's a link down in the description if you want to get your hands on this. This is my personal copy. It is marked up. I have like all kinds of markings on it, and I keep this out by my machines. It's a great handy reference. You can keep it on your computer. You can print it. So go down in the description, sign up for my newsletter, and you can get your hands on that. It's going to take what we talk about today and condense it for you. So each of the 7 Cricut machines, let's talk about what 7 those are first. There's 3 families of machine. The first family is the Joy family. That is the Joy and the Joy Extra. The second is the Explore family. That is the Explore Air 2 and the Explore 3. The third family is the Makers, the Maker and the Maker 3. There is also a Venture machine. That's the really big cutting machine. The Venture actually fits into the Explore family of machines because it has the same capabilities. So we have Joy, Explore, and Venture, and Maker. Those are the 3 families that we're going to be referencing. Each family can work with the same tools. So the Makers, the Explorers, and the Joys, those all work with the same tools. When you buy a machine, or if you already have your machine, it came with a blade. It came with the fine point blade. So if I open up my Maker 3 here, and I pop this out, this is the fine point blade. And it's actually a housing, and then if I push this button, I can pull that blade out. So you get the housing and you get the blade. And as your blade starts to dull, you can replace that piece in the middle. That is the fine point blade. The fine point blade comes with every machine. However, the fine point blade on my Joy will not fit on my Maker 3 and vice versa. So they do the same things, but they're not compatible with each other. So if you have 2 machines, like a Joy and a Maker, you still need 2 different fine point blades. This blade is going to cut most materials you need to make the most popular projects. So this is going to work with all kinds of vinyl, heat transfer vinyl, adhesive vinyl, infusible ink, and all kinds of paper and cardstock. So from very thin copy paper up to really thick glitter cardstock and everything in between. So most of the things that we as crafters like to make can be done with that fine point blade. And that's going to come with your machine. Before diving in and purchasing the other blades that we're going to talk about, just use this one for a little bit, especially if you're new to Cricut. You can do so much with the fine point blade. These other blades and tools can be expensive, so before you start adding more to your repertoire, see if you need them first. And then if you decide you need them, wait for a sale and then get it and you can make more projects. So what we're going to do is break this down by machine family and talk about what blades and tools work with that family. And then that's going to translate into what types of projects you can do within that family. So the first family is the Joy. This is the original Joy and the Joy Extra. Biggest difference between those 2 is the Joy Extra, a little bit bigger, so it can hold a letter size sheet of paper on a mat, and it has the print then cut function. But both are small machines and they both use the same tools. So fine point blade, you can also foil. So this is an example of a foiling kit. This is the Maker and Explore foiling kit. The Joy one is a little bit different, but essentially what this does is it comes in a kit. You would put your piece of paper on a mat, put a piece of foil on top of that paper, and then pick out maybe a line drawing or some text in Cricut Design Space, and then this is going to press the foil onto the paper. Absolutely beautiful. I love making gift tags with the foiling kit and cards and just adding that extra detail to it. So you can get a foiling kit for any one of these, but the Joy specifically one works with the Joy or the Joy Extra. Then you can use any kind of pens. These are Joy pens. They say Cricut Joy. They can be used with the Joy or the Joy Extra. So again, anything in that family. That is it for that family. Fine point blade, foiling kit, pens, nothing else. Between all of those, you can do just about any paper project. You can make stickers, you can cut vinyl, you can cut HTV. So those are the tools available for your joy. Next up is the Explorer family. So we're going to start by talking about the Explorer Air 2 and the Explorer 3. There is the original Explorer as well. The machines that I'm referencing right now are the ones that are available currently through Cricut, and their current tools work with them. I am not an expert on the original Explorer because I never had that machine. So we're referencing the Explorer Air 2 and the Explorer 3. Biggest difference between those two is the 3 is faster. It can cut smart materials without a mat, and it doesn't have a dial on it. It looks more smooth like this one. But they all use the same tools. So, fine point blade that comes with both of them. Then we have the deep point blade. And the deep point blade looks like this. It's black. It looks just like the fine point blade. Again, it's got this little button on it so you can push it out. It is a stronger material, so it's made out of a stronger metal, and it's got a sharper angle on it so you can cut thicker materials. So instead of just cutting thick cardstock, you can now cut cardboard or foam board, leather, magnetic sheets up to 1.5 millimeters thick. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that deep point blade. Again, most can be done with the fine point, but that deep point is good if you want to go a little bit thicker in material. The next blade that the Explorer machines can use is called a bonded fabric blade. I don't have one. The bonded fabric blade is the exact same thing as the deep point blade. Same thing. It is just pink. It's very pretty. I think of the bonded fabric blade as kind of like having a separate fabric scissors. You want to keep it sharp. You want to keep it in really good condition so you can make perfect cuts on fabric with a backing to it. You could just get 2 deep point blades, but there's no difference between that and the deep point blade. But it is nice if you do a lot of work with fabric with backing on it or bonded fabric, having that separate blade is just as good as having a separate fabric scissors. You can foil with the Explorer, same capabilities as the Joy. Again, just make sure you get the foiling kit that's compatible with your Explorer. The other thing you can do is score. This is a scoring stylus. Kind of has the handle of a weeding tool with just a blunt tip on the end here. This is going to score fold lines. This is ideal if you are making paper crafts and you want to score fold lines to make a box or a card or something like that. So again, for the Explorer family, we have the fine point blade, the deep point blade, the bonded fabric blade, foiling, scoring. You can also write with the Explorer machines. Pens just like this, except they're not made for the Joy, they're made for the Explorer or Maker. Pens that work with the Explorer will also work with the Maker. The Venture, as I mentioned, has the same capabilities as the Explorer family. If you own a Venture or if you've seen it in action, it is really big and really, really fast. So the tools and blades that go with it are made a little bit differently to accommodate the speed and pressure that's used in the Venture. So the Explorer tool won't necessarily fit the Venture, but it's the same tool. Does that make sense? So we have the fine point blade, deep point blade and bonded fabric blade, a foil tool, a scoring stylus, same one actually as this one, and then something called an auto cutoff blade that you can put into the Venture, and when you're done cutting a very large piece of smart material, you can just cut it off automatically and move on to your next project. The Venture also has some cool other markers that it uses. It can use these really thick markers. I love drawing on poster board with them, and that size marker only fits in the Venture. Okay, next up is the Maker series. This is the Maker 3. There is also the original Maker. Difference between the two is that this 3 is faster, and it can accommodate smart materials. The blades and tools are all the same. The Maker family of machines really takes a big step up in its capabilities. So there is a big difference between what you can do with the Explore family and what you can do with the Maker family. So let's dive in a little bit here. We have the fine point blade. So kind of the same as everything above. The fine point blade, the scoring stylus, the deep point blade and the bonded fabric blade, the foiling kit, and a variety of writing tools that are compatible with the Maker. So all the same as above. Is that everything as above? Yeah, that's everything. And then we add some more. So the next thing we add is a rotary tool. So another way to cut fabric with your Cricut. The rotary tool operates just like a rotary fabric cutter, kind of the handheld one that you roll across your fabric to cut. And I do have that one here. It looks like this, and it's just got a wheel that cuts on the bottom. This can cut thin cotton fabric, it can cut linen, it can cut felt, it can cut all different kinds of things. Where we talked about that bonded fabric blade or the deep point blade, you can cut fabric with that, but it has to have a backing on it. With this rotary cutter, you can cut all kinds of fabric. It's really, really cool if you're cutting out small pieces of fabric for a project. The next blade is this one here. This is the knife blade. This is a really cool addition. Now, this works in the Maker because you need a lot of pressure to make this blade work, because this is going to go through materials that are up to 1.5 millimeters thick and some that are even up to 3 millimeters thick. So you need a really thick, sturdy blade, and you need a lot of pressure from your machine. The knife blade can cut wood. So it can cut basswood or balsa wood. It can cut thick leather, chipboard, and all kinds of really thick materials. It can cut foam up to like 3 millimeters thick. That basswood or balsa wood, we're looking at 1.5 millimeters thick. And it does take a while, many passes to go over, but it gets the job done, and it's really cool what you can do. With the Maker series, Cricut introduced something called the Quick Swap system. And what this is, let me see if I have one here, is a tool that looks just like this. It looks like the other rotary and the knife blade that we had, but it's got a button on top. And I can push this button and pull off the tip. And there are 6 different tips that are interchangeable with this housing. So if one of these tips sounds interesting to you, you buy the tip with the housing, and then the next time you want to get one, you just need to buy the tip. You don't need to buy the housing. So I can pull off this one, and I can add in this one. And they all just sit right in here in clamp B where my fine point blade goes. So this is pretty cool. This whole quick swap system is what just expands what you can do with this machine. So the first thing they offer is a scoring wheel. So we mentioned there's a scoring stylus, and this does work in clamp A here with the Maker machines, and it makes great fold lines. The scoring wheel is going to make deeper fold lines. So if you're making an intricate 3D paper project and you really want to be able to fold all your pieces, that scoring wheel, it's a little bit better than the stylus. The next quick swap tip is the double scoring wheel. So again, same thing as the single scoring wheel, it just makes 2 lines. So if you have a very specific project that might require some double score lines, the double wheel is a good investment. There is a debossing tip, which allows you to, I'm going to use the word engrave. It allows you to engrave paper projects or deboss designs onto cardstock. Looks really cool when you're making paper projects. There is also an engraving tip. So the debossing tip is for cardstock and paper crafts. The engraving tip is for soft metal, acrylic, and leather. I love the engraving tip. I have a whole video on how to engrave aluminum bracelets and how to engrave acrylic bookmarks with the engraving tip. It is a really cool process, and it just totally expands what you can do. I have a lot of lasers. We've talked about lasers a lot. I can cut and engrave wood with lasers. I can engrave metal. I can engrave leather and acrylic. But the fact that you can do some of that with the maker is just really, really cool. So if you're not quite ready for a laser, but you want to do some engraving on acrylic and metal, love that tip. You're going to get so much out of it. I'll link that video down in the description if you want to look at what that engraving tip can do. The next tip you can get is a perforation blade. So this is really cool. You can make tear-off sections. So let's say you are making a whole bunch of custom raffle tickets for a project or a birthday party or something like that. You can cut them out with the fine point blade, but then you can add a perforation. So you could even make a big line of raffle tickets, add a perforation so you could easily tear them off. Really a cool option to have for making some paper crafts. The final tip is the wavy blade, and it just adds a decorative edge to paper projects. Kind of like those scalloped scissors. I don't know if you have any of those, but you can cut really cool edges along, or the punches that would cut edges. That just allows our Cricut to make those cool edges as well. So those are the 6 quick swap tips that go with the maker family, in addition to all the other tools that go with the other ones. So I think we covered all of the different tips and all of different blades and tools that work with your Cricut machine. Here's my advice. Get your machine, or if you already have your machine, craft with the fine point blade. It's going to cut all kinds of paper and cardstock, all different thicknesses and different types. It's going to cut all kinds of vinyl, HTV, infusible ink. You're going to be able to do most projects you want to do with the fine point blade. If you decide you want to do more, really investigate what kind of projects you want to do and what blades you're going to need. This guide is going to come in handy for you. And then watch for sales. I would recommend sticking with Cricut brand blades. There are some knockoffs out there. I have tried some over the years, and I am just happier when I get the Cricut blade made by Cricut that goes with their machine. But they do go on sale. Very often they go on sale. So if you really want that engraving tip to make some jewelry, buy it with the housing when you have one of those 50% off deals, and then you're going to be set up to add more tips down the road. All of these machines can write. I've got this big thing of Joy pens here. This was a phenomenal deal when I got it, and it's every color. It works with my Joy and my Joy Extra. You can also use regular pens in your machine. You just have to alter them a little bit to make sure they're held appropriately. I do have some short videos on how to do that. But again, wait for sales or figure out how to use a Crayola marker in your machine. I hope you found this helpful. I hope this gives you a good overview of all the different tools and blades that are available for Cricut, how to use them and what projects you can make. Shop those sales, figure out what you want, and then wait for a sale. You're going to be very happy that you did. If you like this episode, know that this podcast goes live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Central Time. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. Brand new to Creative Ramblings, we just launched the Creative Insiders membership. Hit that join button below this video to watch a quick video on an overview of what the membership is all about and how you can benefit from it. Tomorrow I have a crafty newsletter going out with some cool stuff in it, a new project I just made, and I'm launching a heat press giveaway, so sign up for that newsletter. You'll get the Cricut Blade Guide for free, and then you'll get a link direct to your inbox so you can enter that giveaway right away. Thank you so much for listening today, and we will see you next time.